Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Can you have fun and also do a lot of business? What? No, you got to put your nose to the grindstone. I want you to think about that metaphor for a while. You know what a grindstone is, right? It's the grindstone that helped like swords get sharper. Imagine putting your nose to a grind. You wouldn't have a nose left. What fun is that? Do you have to hustle? Do you have to grind? Does it have to be like pulling teeth? There's another great metaphor for you, right? Do you have to watch Boiler Room, Wolf on Wall Street, and Glengarry Glen Ross to get sales in sales? And isn't it interesting that those are the movies that everybody recommends? And yet, at the end of all those movies, all the salespeople either die or go to prison. That's our metaphor for sales. Welcome to sales, everybody. No, there has got to be a better way. And today we are going to show you the light. We are going to show you the way to a way that you can have fun and get business. And we're going to put a B2B spin on it. That is a business to business spin. We have a great guest today. I cannot wait to introduce him to you. Before I do that, I have to give everybody a shout out. And when I say everybody, I mean all of you listeners making us a top 100 podcast. You did it. You're downloading it. You're subscribing. You're sharing. You're rating. You're reviewing it. The action around Referrals Podcast has never been higher. And I just want to say thank you. And if you haven't rated or reviewed it or subscribed, I would invite you to do that now. Thank you so much for listening to us today. I have to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Lisa Schimming, who is out of our dear city, Atlanta, Georgia, one of my very close neighbors. She said, "What a pleasure to be part of Gen. I am inspired daily as I participate in the many programs you offer. I love referrals. I love getting referrals. I love Gen. There we go. I love that. And I love Lisa Schimming. Here's the thing. If you're not a part of Gen, you have to be on Facebook first, which you are. I know you are. Everybody is, you know. So join gengen.com. That's JOINGENGEN.com. You can join our referral network, our referral community called the Generosity Generation for free at joingengen.com. You'll have to answer a couple of questions to get accepted into the group. And we just use that as a filter to keep the bots out and keep the good people in. So you're the good people. We want you there. Joingengen.com. Today, we have a very special guest with us. We have a gentleman who was born and raised in Ocean City, Maryland, where he grew up on the beach with his parents and older brother. He went on to garner his bachelor's degree in business management in Elizabethtown College at the beautiful city of Lancaster, PA. After college, he started his career with Aflac. We are not sponsored by Aflac today. However, if you are with Aflac, please give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about sponsoring the Referrals Podcast. He then transitioned into staffing and recruiting. During his time with Aflac, he was given 7L as a gift to help him with his business. After a few years, an opportunity to become an entrepreneur and run his own benefits agency was presented. This led to him meeting his partners, Bryn in Denver, Colorado. Hi, Bryn. And Brian in Orlando, Florida. And he founded his Xperience Benefits in 2019. This business has been steadily growing for the last couple of years. During his time with Xperience, he has been able to enjoy growing his agency through the principles taught by 7L. This is essentially his 7L success story. Josh currently lives, talk about neighbors, in Alpharetta, Georgia. He enjoys playing lacrosse, lifting weights. He's a buff dude, hitting a golf ball, playing tennis, and spending time with his family, friends, and his girlfriend. Welcome to Referrals Podcast, Josh Dougherty out of Alpharetta, Georgia. How are you, my neighbor?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to
Yeah,
be
and you're
here.
in benefits, right? You're not a realtor, you're not a lender, you're not a financial planner, you're not a, you're not a warranty. You do B2B. You're not B2C, right? So does 7L work B2B?
I'd say so.
You've
And
made it work.
I'd say it works in a phenomenal way. And I'm excited to share the ins and outs, although it's not much different, as we will find out.
So one thing that's interesting is a couple of things that I really want to talk about is one, we talked beforehand that recently that you have joined the Church of the Apostles, and a lot of churches now are kind of actually doing some of the things that we do within 7L, which is the small group concept, right? So within a big group, you make small, you segment the groups if you can, right? So you're part of a small group with the Church of the Apostles, and you've been going to this group for about 2 to 3 months. So the question is begged, right? Is like, how have you learned that like it all fits together? Like, does 7L, what you're learning, business, does it fit together?
Yeah, it all ties together, right? I mean, the foundations of 7L are building a business on love, generosity, and appreciation. And when you bring in the church and the faith, it's about love and loving one another. And when you're talking about the small group component of it, one of the main things that I've gleaned from the small group is and we've talked about a lot of different things, but one is having kind of a false identity and a true identity. And everyone's true identity and living in truth is being loved and giving love at all times. And making sure that is in constant alignment with who you are. And if you are living in that, you will receive it all day, every day. And that's how we've really shifted into building our business based on those principles, as far as making sure that not only our clientele loved and on all cylinders, but all of those around us that we network with, our relationships, family, friends, all of it. So it's just amazing. And it's one of those things, right? Simon Sinek talked about where it's definitely an emotional thing and it's hard to put words to it. But when you're living in that truth, you feel it all day.
Yeah, I love that. And, there's faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of all of these is love. And there's like, how do we interpret that, right? Why are we told that love is the greatest of these? And I have my opinion on that, and everybody else can have their own opinions, but faith is something that I do. I'm faithful in God. I'm faithful in whatever. I have faith in what's going to be laid out in front of me, which is a confidence. Hope is me, right? I have hope. I need to retain hope. The power of love is it involves another, and there's a great quote that I can't remember who said it, but it's we are all one-winged angels. We truly need another to truly soar. And then if you're with another, then you've got two wings, and there's so much power to that statement and that thought of we are connected by love, and we do need each other to truly soar. There's so much to that it's I don't know. That's not what has been positioned in the United States for years it's rugged individualism. You're a self-made man, baby. There are no self-made men or women, right? Yeah, they might have done a lot on their own, but somebody helped them. Somebody helped them get to that point, right? It was an employee, an assistant, a mentor, a client, right? Tell me how well your business did without clients last year, right? So I think that the bottom line is I love that aspect. And I don't know if we've ever talked about this on Referrals podcast before, is, the aspect of love within the generosity generation and ReferCo. and the 7L system is, that the highest is love. We have the 3 values: love, generosity, and appreciation. Well, there's love at the highest. Do what you love to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is having fun, getting business. And the thing that everybody needs to know is love, generosity, and appreciation. Well, there's love. And then what is generosity? Generosity is love in action. It's love in action. That means, generosity is doing something for another out of a foundation of love, right? It's action. And that's where Genergy takes place, generosity energy. And when you do something for someone else, people tend to want to reciprocate, or it does come back around, not always directly or immediately, but it does. And then the one that sometimes surprises people is appreciation. So you've got generosity is love in action. Well, appreciation is love in reaction. So appreciation is love in reaction to the things that happen to us. And it's one of those where at the moment we're like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Then we come to find out there were 19 great things that happened because that happened. I went through a divorce, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you got to upgrade a husband, or you got to upgrade a wife, and you get, you got this, and you got this happiness, and you got this joy, and you got this kid, and that kind of thing. So it's one of those where, love is at the base of all this, and we can do what we love and do really well in this business. And Josh Dougherty is the one that's proven that, tell us about, so do you remember who gave you 7L? By the way, when you held that up, and if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can see it. He held up one of the first 20,000 copies of 7L. That's what, it's not the first 5,000 because it's not a matte finish. So that is one of the 5 to 20,000 book, because it's the shiny cover with the it's black with the silver logo. And this had to happen like 2011, 2012, that kind of thing. So
yeah, I was back with Aflac, and I was actually part of a networking group at the time, and that was back in Maryland. And if he's watching this, Wayne Smith, he's actually a Keller Williams agent that gave it to me back in the day. And he said, you should read this book. I think it would really help you.
Love it.
And I read it, but I most certainly didn't implement it. I guess some of the principles I did, but not really until a year and a half ago. It was a year and a quarter ago, December of 2019, when we met and went to the summit down in Atlanta, Referral Mastery, and that's where it really kicked off. And I don't want to jump the gun with my hats off to Tommy. If anyone doesn't know Tommy with an H, do. It's an excellent resource. He and I worked many hours on the principles of 7L and how to live in them, and building a system to shifting it to a B2B sphere. That's really propelled my business. Even to the point where folks, when I tell them I've been in business 2 years, they're like, oh, so you get business by cold calling and hitting the phones and hitting the streets? I say, honestly, our business is mainly referrals. And the looks that I get from that,
yeah,
it cracks me up every time, because they're like,
So you've got, first of all, Wayne Smith, thank you for doing that. What a great catalyst moment that was. And you read it, which is amazing. I mean, first of all, it's given to you by a realtor. It's about it. Well, people think it's about a realtor, but it's about more than that. But it is my gift to the real estate world in one way. And it's one of those where it's like, all right, so you read this book about a realtor and you're like, well, it kind of applies to me, but you couldn't really see yourself in Rick Masters, right? So then come to Referral Mastery Summit in Atlanta. By the way, we're doing another one in Scottsdale in October of this year, actually last week of September, first week of October. And so what happened at Referral Mastery Summit that you went, and this is a big thing, because out there in the world, it seems like the B2B people over here, and then the B2C people are over here, and like they don't they don't mix strategies all that much. They're just like, so what clicked at Referral Mastery Summit for you where you're like, you know what, this can work B2B for me?
Well, it was certainly a number of items. To pinpoint one specific item is a little tough. One of the most vivid memories that I have from that, and if anyone's not familiar with Referral Mastery Summit, there's, I don't know, a few hundred people in that room. And when you were up on stage and you were talking about who's my A's, B's, C's, and D's, I might have messed up the letters, but when you came to the C's, and the C's are the kind of the cautious folks that are careful, I was the only person that raised their hand in the entire room.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on the first day. And honestly, when I did that, being the C that I am, I was skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
So I want folks that are listening to this, that I went into this even after reading the book. And Tommy, the reason I was there was because Tommy's like, I'm going to be in Atlanta. You should come to this event. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. So I was not going into this event like, woohoo, I'm going to go learn all this stuff and bring this to my business. I was going to this event like, I'm here for Tommy. I'm here to meet Michael. I'm here to maybe get some couple tidbits. And I walked out of that event completely blown away. So to answer your question in regards to kind of what was gleaned, so just being around successful folks, although in different industries, seeing it in action. That's first and foremost. B, and you alluded to it before, but is the fun component. I saw how much fun when everyone was giving their presentations on how they bring it into their own business, how much fun they were having. And I was sitting there and being like, I am not having this much fun in my business. Mm-hmm. I want to have that kind of fun. If people know me, I like to have fun. I'm a fun guy, I think.
Wait. You're a high C on the DISC. For those of you that are not familiar with DISC, D is straight to the point, bottom line, very short. People think that they're rude, maybe, or blunt. They are blunt, but they're not rude. They do love you. They just want to get to the bottom line. The I is social and outgoing, fun, social butterfly, always talking to everybody, wearing bright colors, typically, that kind of thing. And then the S is the steady and dependable. Sometimes they wear muted colors. Sometimes they're more in the background. They're great teammates because they want everybody on the team happy. And then you've got the C's, who are just the rude. No, I'm kidding. Cautious, perfectly accurate. And cautious, perfectly accurate is an acronym for CPA, accountant types, very, very detail oriented. They love specificity. Please don't be vague with them. Please don't say be on around 1 o'clock. Make sure you say be on at specifically 1 o'clock. It's one of those where specificity is a big part of their, and the world isn't specific. So a lot of times they're looking for specificity in a vague world. And so they're looking for the steps. They're looking for, and notice what he did when he was explaining that. He said, number one, he put his fingers up, like, number one, this is what I got. Number two, that's what smart people do. I just want you to know that. We're talking one of the best benefit salesmen in the entire country. And like, he's a high C, right? So there's something special about that as well. And I think the biggest thing is C's can have fun too. C's can have fun too. And I think sometimes a lot of salespeople who have worked with that CPA or lawyer or engineer are like, these are the least fun people ever. But once you learn how to communicate with them, you find out they want to have fun too, and they can be fun too. You just have to learn how to communicate in the way they want to be communicated with, right? So
you just have to appease us. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful thing. So what makes this system different over the other sales systems that you've studied, been exposed to, and seen? As you've studied sales left and right for years upon years. What do you feel like is the difference with the 7L system versus, what is taught out there?
So it's interesting in that, so being 2021, and I entered sales in 2001, and I guess I'm a younger person, whatever. But I've been in sales for 10 years now, and it's interesting. Certainly, my journey in sales. And I will say that really the past 8 years of sales prior to implementing 7L has been the traditional, cold calling, walking in businesses, giving business cards, going to networking events, doing chamber things, trying to establish connections with people. The problem with all of the common denominator of all of it, and I'm not bashing it because it works. It does work. I've made plenty of sales. I've landed some great clients, a great career to speak of from those tactics, but they leave you empty. They're not fun. And the common denominator from it is it takes away from generosity. It's constantly taking. Right? It's not about giving back. It's all about what can I get? What is it? What's in it for me? Right? And not focusing on them. And of course, it's like, sales is, if you have a product, you gotta listen, and you gotta use your ears more than your mouth. And all of that is very true. And if you have a product that can solve problems, then you're at a good position. But when you're coming from a position of, I'm only doing this to get a sale, and I'm not truly doing it to truly help them, it's a big issue, and I think a lot of people miss it as they're kind of going through life and going through sales in that regard. So to bring it back here, right? The biggest shift is how do I, in a B2B world, bring the concepts of love, generosity, and appreciation to people when I'm selling to businesses? The simple answer is you're not selling to businesses. You're selling to people.
Wow.
People make up businesses.
Yeah, that's a big awareness, is that it may be B2B, and we say it's business to business sales, but it's really still a person. You're still talking to a person who's making a decision to purchase from you. I love that. How do you do that? So what are you implementing within 7L that seems to be working for you to get those sales through from other businesses?
Yeah, great question. So really, to kind of get started with all of this, right, you've got to talk to people. And being here, and even from my previous job, I really didn't have a big network at all to speak of. I'm not from Georgia. My last job, I was in staffing. That's what moved me down here. So I couldn't really just like go after the old book of business that I had or anything like that, even though it's different industries. So I really kind of had to start from scratch. And starting from scratch was actually getting kind of back to the basics, right? Looking into networking groups, joining Chamber of Commerce's, talking to local people within your community. But the biggest thing as far as with getting started there is starting here. And when you're talking to these people implementing the 7L system, and what the system really allows for is for you to get in front of these people. And it is funny because I was talking to Tommy about this the other day, and he was like, oh my gosh, you have to share that on the podcast. So here I am. In sales, and I'm sure, Michael, that you've heard this and many others listening this, that they're always saying that you got to have 5 to 12 touches before someone will either meet or buy from you, right? What the beautiful thing about 7L, and I believe that to this day, because I don't think I've ever made a sale when I didn't at least have 5 touches. The nice thing about 7L is it gets you those touches in a way that's all about them. And it's truly about you giving them value. So when you meet with somebody, whether it be a client or a prospect, or just someone that you're networking with, that there's your touch 1 is just sitting with them. Touch 2 afterwards is sending them a thank you note. Touch 3 is they either text you back via, if you haven't watched the Power Note video, definitely do. Get that text message back, that call back. And the other one of the things that I've added to it is if I meet with somebody, especially in the networking realm, right, a 1-to-1, if I had really good Genergy with them, right, and you've got to feel that too. I mean, there are some people, there are definitely folks that you're going to sit with and you're like, yeah, I don't think that is going to work.
Mhm.
Very transactional. That's how they're it is. That's fine. But it's following back up with them. And I give myself 1 to 3 weeks, and I make it an absolute point to give them a referral or give them something of value. Or even if you don't have either one of those, make sure that you call them and say, hey, I was thinking about you because of this. And the chances are, if you are deliberate in trying to help that person, you will think of them for something. I was at this client and they brought this up. Is this a potential good referral for you? What that really does is, if you think of it, you have a one-to-one, a couple weeks go by, right? They've gotten a letter from you.
Mhm. Handwritten note, right?
Correct. Handwritten note. You've now, maybe a week and a half maybe goes by. Now you're calling them and saying, either I got something for you, like a literal, here's business for you.
Mhm.
I was thinking of you because of this, or, hey, we were talking about this. You said you needed help with this.
Mhm.
It could be something personal, right? Like, I'm looking for a church group or something like that. I found this, I was talking to someone about this group. You've now, within that time frame, gotten close to 10 different touches, and
That's
it's
right.
all about them.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
love
now
that.
they're like, Josh cares. How can I help him? And it's funny when people ask, how can I help you? Being in health insurance and in benefits, I say, don't. They go, what do you mean? I
That's
said,
awesome.
nobody wants to talk about health insurance. I
Yeah.
said, however, I said, you'll know it when you hear it, because if someone's complaining about their health insurance, ask if they've got someone to talk to, and then they can hit me up. But that's it.
And I'm telling you right now is that you have job security forever, dude. Because I mean, every year it is a question of what to do with health insurance for everybody, including entrepreneurs. And as a business owner, I mean, I remember the year when Howard Schultz said that he spent more on health insurance than he does on coffee. And for those of you that don't know who Howard Schultz is, he is the founder of Starbucks. They spent more on health insurance than they did coffee. And trust me, his meetings around the board were as much about health insurance as they were about they were getting their coffee and how much they were spending on coffee. And it's that way for all entrepreneurs. And by the way, for those of you that are entrepreneurs and you have health insurance questions, this is the guy. Reach out to this guy. He's going to help you. He can help you no matter where you are at. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I usually reserve that for the towards the end. But Josh, if somebody has a health insurance question and they have a need in that arena, and maybe you can help them with the products and offerings that you guys have with Xperience Benefits, how do they get a hold of you?
Honestly, call me or email me. Number, I'm not afraid to put it out there, 404-484-9263. Give me a shout, shoot me a text, or send me or my company an email. It's either info@Xperience, and there's no E at the beginning of that. It's just Xperience Benefits.com, or josh.dougherty@xperiencebenefits.com. I am happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because here's the thing I want everybody to know is you or your wife or someone at your company is trying to figure out all of and that's not their job. Their job is bookkeeping, or their job is COO or director of operations or office manager. They're not a health insurance expert. And they're trying, and I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people who are underinsured. There's a lot of people who are overinsured. A lot of people don't know if they're insured. Well, you need to assure that you're insured. And the way to do that is get an expert involved. There is an expert that you now know within the generosity generation who can answer your health insurance questions. And I'm telling you, and he's going to shoot you straight. And in some cases, he's not going to make a dime. He's just going to help you and put you in the right place. And then other cases, his company will be able to help you in a big, big way. So I love it. I love it. So I love what you said about the networking, and like you have, and we this is one of the first things that we teach within 7L is to have a plan for networking. When you meet somebody new, what is your sequence of touches? We call it the F-bomb jokingly, drop an F-bomb on them, and the F-bomb, the F is really for follow-up, but it's like, what do you do before the meeting? You're confirming, you have your meeting, it's all about them. You should have a list of questions. And then afterwards you follow up with a handwritten note, maybe a text, maybe an email, maybe a voicemail. That's the 444. And then you go right into this. And this is the part that I think many people miss out on is, okay, I did the 444, the 333. Now they just like forget about it. But what Josh is saying is 7 days after the meeting, he's got think time. And remember that think is one of the 7 gifts of generosity. The 7 ways that we can help others is we can think about them. And then notice he said we talked about, or it could be a gift, which fits under treasure, or it can be a connection, which fits under team, whatever it may be, and really help them in a way. And most of those cases don't cost you a dime to help that person out. But what is that networking person thinking about Josh when a week later you've done, all these things have happened. Josh has gone from a stranger to a referral. I'm looking for a referral for Josh within 7 days. So people think all the time, networking slow, it takes forever, it takes, whatever. No, it can happen quickly, and it does happen quickly. You just have to establish the trust and establish the relationship. I love what you said earlier, Josh. It's not B2B. It's still a relationship, still a person, still a consumer. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
and the only thing I would add to that is, and you've mentioned it on podcasts before, it is being very deliberate with your actions, and it's being deliberate with the people that are reciprocating. Definitely be mindful of the folks that, when you sit with somebody, the folks that, and it's a feeling. It really is. The folks that are really going to try to help you, and that you are going to try to help them. And there's going to be plenty of folks that you'll meet with that do not fall in that bucket. Still love them, still do the steps. You never know. But be mindful of your energy / Genergy. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I love it. And that's such a powerful thing. And you talk about like energy and quality, and it's like, once a new networking contact really knows you, how does the quality of their referral differ? Once they really know you, what have you noticed about referral? Not all referrals are created equal. There's the connection, there's the introduction. Sometimes those can work out, sometimes they don't. And then there's the referral that is a maybe or maybe not. And then there's the referral that is like the referral of a lifetime. It's a home run. The trust is built, and it's guaranteed sale, but it's so much more than that. So what have you noticed as they get to know you better based on your touches?
Yeah. So when it finally does get to the point where they ask, how can I help you? I do always joke and I say, just tell them. But then they go, well, of course it's going to go, but like, seriously, what are you looking for? It's being very pointed with who you're looking for. Don't just be like, oh, just any business. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. I'd like to tear it down. Me and my fingers, right? Yeah. But I do think it is very important and it's critical. I said the referrals, we can help a slew of people. Really, we really can help individuals and businesses across the board. But who we're really looking for, and I say it's really one of 3 types of people. I said our bread and butter, who we thrive with are employers 5 to 50 employees. They have benefits, and typically white collar attorneys, IT companies, and engineering firms. And so what that does, that specificity, and you say that that's the best, that gets them thinking about maybe those types of people. And I can't tell you how many times I've said just that, and people are like, oh, like I have my friend who works at this law firm. Would they be a good fit for you? Maybe. My stock answer is it depends. So we got to have a conversation. And then I'll say, my second is, we can actually help bigger and larger firms. So 2 to 200 employees, we have clients in that bucket. And then third and, lastly is anybody that has a health insurance question. I mean, I've helped plenty of people that work for big companies that have excellent benefits. And like you said, I've just advised them like, hey, this is what you have. Here's some different options for you. But if it makes sense for them to stay, like that's what I'm going to recommend them do. So with that being said, I put those into buckets that makes it easy for them to kind of be on the lookout for. But just end it with, I always kind of say, I'm like, just if people, they need help with it, just let me know. That's it. And then, but like to your point though, as relationships have evolved and people are giving me referrals, they're education opportunities. So if someone gives me a referral, right, for just like an individual, of course we're going to help them. And we've helped many, many individuals with their health insurance needs. I'll call the person that referred me and say, thank you so much for referring me. They were such a great person to work with, et cetera, et cetera. Just an FYI, and I'll give them a complete recap of what happened and just saying, hey, like, listen, like this is what they were looking for. If you run into something like that again, you can ask them this, and this. It helps tee it up a little bit better. And then also too, it's just like, and if you just, again, if you know of any, and that's when I'll kind of do a little plug for my number one. So like, hey, and by the way, if you know any of the small businesses, that 5 to 50 space and, the white collar type industries, let me know. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. Like that's but now it's kind of like, I can hear it in their voice. They're like, oh, I got you one, but like, I know what you're really looking for. So I'm going to help you. But do not forget that individual, there's been value given to them by me at some point along the way, whether it's been a referral, a connection, a thinking of you, a gift, any and all of the above.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love your number 3 as part of your 3. And the number 3 is anybody that has a health insurance question. And this is in 7L. This is how honestly I built my real estate business was, it's like, who are you looking for? Well, looking for somebody that's selling, looking for somebody that's buying. But honestly, somebody has a real estate question, just send them to me and I'll answer their question, And what's amazing about that is if you think about it, you're really defining that third one really defines you as I am here to help and real estate in their head. Like anybody says anything about real estate, they have a question. Anybody asks a question about health, I will tell you that we have attorneys who are implementing the system and they say, if anybody has a legal question, have them call me, which is so anti-legal system, sales training. Like they get paid by the hour. They're like, don't waste your hours. Well, trust me, prospecting is not wasting hours. Being a rainmaker, trust me, all those rainmakers are doing stuff for free that leads to the big bucks. So financial planner, anybody has a financial question about stocks or investing or whatever it may be, have them give me a call. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to add that. You have to add that to how you can help others. And a part of your language needs to be when somebody has a blank question, which is what you do, have them give me a call. And I mean, Josh, how many health insurance questions have you answered where maybe it didn't turn into anything? How often does that happen?
It happens every day.
Yeah. How many of those health insurance questions turned into really good contracts for you and your company?
A bunch.
Yeah. Right. It's reverse prospecting. They're calling you versus you calling cold caller. If somebody has a health insurance question, they have a health insurance problem. You know what your company does? It solves health insurance problems. So, call me with your problem and we'll solve it. Sometimes it'll be us, sometimes it won't be, and it's okay. I'm telling you, it's just, I love it. I love it. And a lot of times it does end up in your sweet spot, like you said.
And something, just a quick tag along, and then we'll move along.
Yeah.
But to add to that is, if there are folks out there that you're not willing to do that, think of it in this vein: your time is more valuable than money.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're willing to give away the knowledge that you have, do not underestimate that knowledge is power. And if you are in your field, whatever that field might be, it's your expertise. Put it out to the world that it's your expertise and that you can help.
Mm-hmm.
And be willing to give that help up. And that, I think, was one of the big things from RMS that I learned, as far as just being there to give and understanding that is immensely powerful. And especially for me, as my C head, I'm like, well, how do I quantify this? You quantify it by the amount of inbound calls that you're getting for business after that front load work has been done. So that's all I'd add to that.
Yeah, I love it. So we will move along. We need like a conclusive, like in conclusion, right? I feel like we could carry this conversation on forever, but we're right at the top of our time here. And so tell me in conclusion, what advice would you have, especially for the B2B sales people out there? Of course, whatever you say is probably going to apply to B2C people as well. But, what's the overarching awareness or thoughts that you've had about this? And what advice would you give to the salespeople who are listening to this?
Yes. Good question. The advice that I would give is right back to the beginning of the podcast, is have fun. Seriously. Seriously have fun. If you're not, you're gonna fall. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna forget to send a power note to somebody. You're gonna forget about somebody. But you know what? Some of those opportunities where I'll call somebody after a couple months because I accidentally forgot about them or I got too busy. I call them, and actually I did want to share something that's huge, that's from the book. This, if y'all are familiar with the communication pyramid, is stay in the influential zone. Yeah, call people. If you mess up, own it, right? Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to follow up with you on this, or I wanted to send you a thank you note, or I thought about you because of this. Call them. People want to hear your voice. We live in such a digital world, right? Of, just send me an email, send me this, send me that. But if you think that every email that you're sending out, know that it's in the informational zone. Text messages, informational zone. Pages, no one's paging anymore. Faxes, whatever.
Yeah, don't send a fax. Nobody will get it. Yeah.
Sending flares, it's informational, but actual phone call, don't be afraid to do it. So have fun, stay in the communication pyramid, 80-20 rule all the way. Stay at the top of the pyramid. And I guess, other than that, I don't know what B2B folks, we have CRMs. Use it for follow-ups. Put in their right power note. Put in there, get referral for Bob Smith. Do it. And when it pops up on your phone, you're like, I got to get a referral for Bob. It's giving. And you got to be intentional. So,
I love it. Have a system of touches. Yeah. Have a system of touches that are fun to implement and even better on their end to receive. I couldn't have said it better myself. And Josh, I really, really appreciate your coming on. I love your 7L success story. It's different, right? You're not a realtor, you're not a lender, you're in benefits. And yeah, we've had a mix of B2B and we've had attorneys and financial planners and different people on. But I just love the uniqueness of your story and how you came to it. And you read it 8 years ago, but really didn't do much. And then boom, you came to Referral Mastery Summit and kind of saw how it could apply to you and how much fun people were having, and then implemented. That's the biggest. How do you get on Referrals podcast? You implement. Who do we have on Referrals podcast? It's real people, real stories, real referrals. And that's you in a nutshell. So thank you so much for being our guest on Referrals podcast today.
Thank you, Michael. Very much appreciated.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us at joingengen.com if you're interested in being part of our referral network. We'd love to have you over there. And also, if you have not signed up for the March Magic Challenge yet, marchmagicchallenge.com, check it out. Do it now, as Josh's band says. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast. Thanks, everybody.